Christian influencers and YouTubers are getting divorced left and right. Every time I get on the internet, I feel like I'm seeing another story of a creator that I follow who is getting divorced. Alisa I Am Eloho recently announced that they were getting divorced. And Shameless Maya, I don't know if you're familiar, but Shameless Maya, she shared that her and her husband are trying to save their marriage. So I want to talk about this today because I feel there is a war on marriage, specifically Christian marriages. I think there's so many people getting divorced, period. But Christian marriages are getting attacked. Let's check out this first clip from Pastor Phillip Mitchell and what he has to say about that.
Now it makes sense to me that in the natural realm we are fighting, but in the spiritual realm, every time the devil sees a biblical union, he sees something that aggravates him. He sees a picture of Christ and the church, and what he would do is take his knife of influence, lies, and deceit, and on that canvas, he will do anything he can to cut that canvas, ruin that canvas, distort that canvas, destroy marriage. Is there any evidence of that? Yes, because there's anecdotal data in this room, in the overflow across that camera, of couples who got married and felt warfare after marriage. Is there any evidence of this in society? Yes. Statistics show 1 out of every 2 marriages ends in divorce, even in the church.
I 100% agree. I feel like there is spiritual warfare going on. And I related to what he said because like when me and my husband got married, after we got married, oh my gosh, we were fighting left and right, arguing. And it was like, whoa, where'd this come from? Like, and you know, we had some disagreements before, but once we got married and declared that in front of God, it was like 10 times that. Okay. And so it can hurt to see like these couples that you look up to and follow. Cause I follow a lot of Christian creators online. So it's hard to see their marriages breaking down and them getting divorced, regardless of what the person has done, not to dismiss it, right? Like, especially if there's abuse involved, right? But it hurts regardless. Like, you don't want to see the downfall of people's marriages, let alone the downfall of individuals because of sin, right? You know, I've been tempted to leave my marriage many times. That's a very, very vulnerable thing to say on here because of arguments, just like disagreements, not seeing eye to eye on a lot of things, and just like just anger, built up resentment, a lot of things. But lately I have been feeling the Holy Spirit calling me to go to bat for my marriage. I've been feeling like there has been spiritual warfare against both of us individually and as a unit. And I believe that we are truly better together. So lately I have just been like ignoring my flesh and doing the opposite of what my flesh wants to do. So I've been holding my tongue when I know that I want to say a little smart remark back. I've been serving even when I don't want to serve, when I feel like, you know, despite his inaction or actions, I've been still choosing to do what God called me to do. I've been choosing to still remain obedient despite the struggle because I know what the enemy is up to. I know that he doesn't like us together. I know that together we have a powerful kingdom marriage and he doesn't like to see it. He does not want to see kingdom marriages. Okay. And I've stopped trying to change my husband and I've been just focused on changing me. I've been focused on what God wants me to work on within myself. The truth of the matter is we both will have to answer to God at the end of the day. And I want God to look at me and say, well done. Okay. I truly believe that we are better staying committed to kingdom, being committed to each other. And these videos have been inspiring me today. Despite the fact that I'm seeing creators who are getting divorced, I want you to stay encouraged. If you are married, or if you want to be married and you're seeing all these couples getting divorced, I don't want you to lose hope in marriage. I want you to know that marriage is hard, but it's rewarding. Just like I think motherhood is hard, but it's rewarding. But anything worth having, you're going to have warfare. The enemy is going to come for it left and right. He don't want you to have that, okay? The next clip that I want to show you is another clip of Pastor Phillip Mitchell, but on the Hardly Initiated podcast, where he talks more about the spiritual attack on marriages.
The devil hates anything that is a reflection of Christ. So anytime a godly man and a godly woman come together, immediately you have a target on your back. It's happening in the unseen realm of the spirit, but it's manifesting in the seen realm.
Yeah.
So y'all fighting all the time, but you don't see the spiritual warfare. You are resenting each other all the time, but you don't see the spiritual warfare. You are hating on each other all the time, but you don't see the spiritual warfare. You don't realize that as soon as y'all two got married, now there is a target on your back.
Yeah.
The devil and the demons and the kingdom of darkness is going to work overtime to dismantle biblical marriage. That's why he will work to bring divorce to Christian couples and to change the definition.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And I wanted to talk about this because I have felt that was exactly what is happening to me and my husband in our marriage. And I know it can't be the only ones, because every second I see somebody else getting divorced. And it's important. It helps when you know that the enemy will attack you, especially if you are married. It helps because in the Bible, it tells you how to fight back. And I want to go through that. So in Ephesians 6:12, it says, "For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world." Our battle is not primarily with our spouse. Like, I could say, oh no, I just don't like him. Oh, he does this. No, it is our flesh. It is sin. It is spiritual warfare making us, sometimes I feel like the enemies can be in our ear just whispering, he's annoying. Don't be patient with him. He's not patient with you. And it's like, what does God call me to do? Okay. In Genesis 2:24 and Genesis 3, right after God created marriage, Satan immediately attacked the first marriage. Can we talk about how Satan literally came to attack as soon as Eve was sent? As soon as Eve was sent to Adam in the garden, he was already tempting her. He was already tempting them. He said, oh no, kingdom marriage? Absolutely not. And he's been attacking marriages ever since because they reflect Christ and the church. In 1 Peter 5:8, it says, "Stay alert. Watch out for your great enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion." Listen, that is what he is doing. And I don't want you to be discouraged, because we have all the tools we need to fight back. And I want to play this next clip from Pastor Mark Driscoll talking about this very thing, about how the enemy attacks marriages and why.
If you don't believe that Satan wants your marriage, you don't believe the storyline of the Bible. Could Satan have shown up when Adam was still single? He could have, but he didn't. Satan doesn't even show up until Adam is married. And I always like to say, after the wedding comes the war. I hear single guys all the time like, man, I'm really in a spiritual battle. I can't wait till I get married and the battle's over. That's first and second nonsense. Right now, you're in a Nerf gun fight. How many of you, your spiritual warfare, your demonic attack didn't even really ramp up until you got married? Satan hates love, he hates covenant, he hates marriage. And so he attacks those things with vigor.
Marriages are under attack. And here are some Bible verses that tell us what we can do to fight those attacks. So in James 4:7, it says, "Submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you." He will flee. Okay. Satan hates to see an obedient servant of God. And when I tell you, I have been working overtime to just show more love, to be more patient, to be more forgiving. I have rough days, like right in that luteal phase. We don't talk about it, but I am working hard, okay? So that the devil will flee our marriage, because I have been feeling it. And I just want to encourage you today with that verse. And in Ephesians 6:10-11, it says, "Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on all of God's armor so that you will be able to stand firm against all strategies of the devil." Listen, put on that armor. Put on God's armor, okay? In Ephesians 4:32, it says, be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. There are days where I'm like, I'm not forgiving that. I'm pissed. I have resentment. I'm holding on. And then I realize the resentment, not only is it doing more for me, but it's breaking down our marriage. And I don't want that. And so I have really been trying to be more tenderhearted. I have been working on that because that's what God asked me to do. And I love God more than I love my husband. No offense to my husband, but I love God more than I love my husband. And so I am going to try my hardest to be obedient. It is hard, especially when you have deep rooted hurt. And I am not saying to stay in an abusive marriage. I always feel like we always have to put these disclaimers, but to me, it's like common sense. I am not saying to stay in an abusive marriage. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I am not saying to stay with someone who is cheating on you consistently. I am not saying that. So I want to make that clear. I'm talking about in a marriage where there's breakdown of communication, there's resentment, there's anger, there's selfishness, right? That's what I'm talking about. In Galatians 5:13, it says, serve one another in love. God is love, okay? He wants us to serve one another. And even on days when I feel like he don't deserve my love, he don't deserve this, I am choosing something else because Jesus chose something else. He died on the cross for me, for us. And if he can do that, why can't I? In Ephesians 4:29, it says, let everything you say be good and helpful so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. I love that verse. When we did premarital counseling, and we did a little marital counseling after that, this came up a lot. And I remember just thinking to myself, if I start to feel like I'm about to say something like smart, I'm about to say something rude, I like catch myself and I'm like, that's not gonna edify him. Or if it's like, what you're about to say is not gonna build him up. What you're about to say is not gonna encourage him to do even what you think you want him to do. Like don't do it. Like, don't say it. Okay. And that has been helping me, like the power of shut up. Shut up. There's a time. God will let you know when you should speak up and when there's a time to not speak up, right? So marriage is hard, but it is worth fighting for. If it wasn't something that was worth it, the enemy would not want it so badly. He would not be going out of his way to tempt you to sin. He would not be going out of his way to try to destroy marriages left and right, okay? Godly marriages are powerful. They reflect the love of Christ. They spread the gospel. They break generational curses, and they stand as light against darkness in this world.